Hey, thanks for joining me. My name's Lee. It's been raining intermittently all week, and a few days ago I was given some really ripe, beautiful ladyfinger bananas, and I really wanted to make a banoffee pie to show you, and also because I felt like eating it. And Mike loves it. It's rich, it's decadent, it's delicious. This is a Mary Berry recipe, who's an iconic and wonderful cook. It comes together really quickly. It doesn't require any fancy ingredients. It's easily converted to gluten-free, and best of all, it's no bake. It has a layer of biscuit, and then caramel, and then fresh bananas, and then cream, and then chocolate. It's so wrong, but it's so right. So I'll show you how I did it. I start by prepping the tin that I'll need. So Mary Berry, she uses an 8-inch pie tin, but I prefer this pie to be thinner. I like the crust to be thinner and the caramel to be a thinner layer, and then I tend to get more bananas and cream, and it just makes the perfect bite. So I use a 10-inch tin, or you can use a springform pan. And I spray a little oil on the bottom just to help the baking paper stick to the bottom, and then I spray around the edges. And that's the pan prepped. You can use any cookies you want. Mary uses digestive cookies, but I use a 180 gram packet of shortbread cookies, which are gluten-free and they're delicious. I put them into a Ziploc bag and I crush them with a rolling pin, and then I tip that into a bowl. Then I take 75 grams of butter and I melt that on the stove, and then I pour that into the crumbs and give it a good mix, and then pour that into the tin. And then I use the back of the spoon and I just spread it with a very light pressure all over the base, making sure to cover up any holes, and I pop that into the fridge for about 15 minutes, and then I start making my caramel. I weigh 75 grams of butter in a small saucepan, to which I add 75 grams of brown sugar. Now Mary uses light muscovado sugar, but I never have. I've always used brown sugar and it works a treat. Then I place that pot on the stove over a very low heat and stir it until the sugar is dissolved and the butter is melted. Then I add 1 full can of sweetened condensed milk, and I stir that over a low heat continuously until it comes to the boil. Now when it comes to the boil, still on a very low heat, I set my timer for 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes the mixture should be coming away from the sides of the pan. If you take the caramel any further than that, which I've done in the past, it's like toffee. It still tastes delicious, but it's really chewy when you go to eat it. So I always set a timer now just for 3 minutes. So I bring it to the boil, simmer it gently for 3 minutes, and then turn off the heat. And then I add 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence and I stir that in. Then I get my pie shell from the fridge and I pour the caramel all over the pie shell. And then I pop that back in the fridge for at least an hour. Now it firms up pretty quickly. You can leave it overnight if you like, so it's a great make-ahead dessert, but an hour is sufficient enough to put the next layer on. So while the pie's in the fridge, I whip some cream. I just use a whisk and a bowl, and I whip about 300 mils of cream until it's nice and thick. Now a little tip, if you put your bowl in the fridge, it doesn't take long at all. Then I take some bananas and I slice enough to cover all the pie. I love the banana layer in this pie, so I make sure I cover as much as possible. And I used about 4 or 5 bananas today, and they should be ripe. If they're not ripe, it won't taste as good, so they should be ripe and firm, not mushy. Then I spread the cream all over the bananas. Now it's an interesting thing, if you cover the bananas with cream, they won't go brown. Even 5 days later, the bananas won't be brown. So make sure you cover all the bananas with the whipped cream. Then I take some flake chocolate. It's basically just chocolate that easily flakes apart, and I sprinkle that all over the cream. Mary melts dark chocolate and she zigzags that over the top, which I've also done. Or you could use just a light dusting of cocoa powder, which I've also done, but flake's my favourite. And that's it. That's the pie done. I pop it back in the fridge for an hour or so it firms up a little bit, and then I slice it. Now Mike and I demolished this whole pie in 3 days just between the two of us. I think Mike even had some for breakfast one day. It's really easy, really yum, and the flavour combination just tastes divine. So hope you make it. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. Are you enjoying that, honey?
Very much.
How is it?
Fantastic.
And the beautiful bit again?
Beautiful.